What's up, people? It's your boy. I'm Chris Don One, and I'm back with another video. You know what you got to do: rate, comment, subscribe. Do not forget to hit that notification bell so you'll know when my next video goes down. Before we get into the Magic Johnson interview on ESPN a couple of days ago, I kind of wanted to talk to you guys that day. But before we get into it, I told you guys that even last week that I felt like the Golden State Warriors was going to possibly sweep the Portland Trail Blazers and either sweep them or Portland makes it interesting and goes to a game 5, but it doesn't go any further than that. And I was right on that on that prediction. And I also predicted that between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Toronto Raptors, this is going to go to a 6, possibly a game 7. And I still feel strongly that this series is going to go to a game 6. I think it's going to go no further than a game 6, to be honest with you. But with that being said, I'll make another live stream and tell you guys and tell you guys who's going to meet the Golden State Warriors in the NBA Finals. But I had to talk about this. Magic Johnson got on First Take with Stephen A. Smith and basically told his side of the story. And, you know, there's 3 sides to a story: your side, their side, and the actual truth. And people, after the interview was over with, people felt like they got the truth, the whole truth. And I really feel like we only got Magic's truth more than the actual truth. There was a few things that he said that was actually the truth. Talking about there's too many chefs in the kitchen. We all knew that, but there was too many chefs in the kitchen when they hired you, Magic. You know, you was part of one of those chefs in the kitchen. So to say that we already knew that, okay? And before I begin, I like Magic Johnson, about to say. But Magic Johnson said he felt betrayed because he heard other people. He didn't witness it for himself, but he heard other people said that Rob Pelinka was walking around the office going, "Where's Magic? Where's Magic? Magic is never here." And Magic, is not a hard worker when it comes to being president of basketball operations. Now, Magic said, and he said this in countless interviews, as well as this interview with First Take. He stated that, "Look, I told Jeanie I didn't want to do this full time. I just want to do it part time. I still want to have my vacation, still be Magic, and basically be sort of like a consultant for you." But he was president of basketball operations. Now, I told people when this went down, and if this is true that Jeanie allowed him to do that, well, it only proves that Jeanie Buss is still new at what the responsibilities and what it takes to be an owner. Okay? And I felt like people around her, including Magic, knew that she was new at this. So when they gave Jeanie ultimatums, she just thought that was the thing to do because she's learning, and she's learning her job as she's working at her new job, which is being an owner. And you can apply this to any walk of life. When you go into a job and you're training as you work, you're not going to understand the nuances of the job. You don't understand in the beginning the responsibility and what it takes at your new job until you're done with your training and You have experience under your belt. Things that you thought you could do, you know now you cannot do. And I feel like this is one of those situations with Jeanie Buss. So I kind of believe Magic when he said, look, I told Jeanie I would love to be president of basketball operations, but I do not want to. I'll do it at a part-time basis. I don't want to do it full-time, because being president of basketball operations is not a fun, glamorous job. Okay, you have to recruit, which I think Magic is pretty decent at. You have to stay in the office. You're gonna miss a lot of holidays. You're gonna miss a lot of birthdays. You're gonna miss a lot of vacations, because you're constantly in the office, working the phones on possible trades to make your team better. You're also in the office looking at the draft to see what players that can make your team better, or you could trade those picks for veteran players or players in that draft that can benefit your team. You're looking at inside your roster internally, okay, what pieces worked, what pieces didn't work, and, you know, hiring a coach, making sure the coach is right for the team, the organization, and the direction you want to go. And I felt like Magic didn't want to do those things. I felt like the only thing Magic wanted to do, okay, he wanted to do his most work. The most work you would have seen Magic is in summer free agency. And then after that, all the other nuances he didn't want to do. That's why Rob Pelinka was hired with Magic Johnson. So you got two inexperienced people running an organization. Now, I love this theory that a lot of people say, well, that's what's wrong with the Lakers. Hiring the right candidate, the right person for the job. They always hire somebody that used to play for the team, that are friends with the family of the ownership group, that know somebody, that know that person who got the ear of that particular owner. And that's what's wrong with the NBA. That's why most teams, when they take that route, are usually not very successful teams. And to that I say this, that is true, but these are the same people that wanted Tyronn Lue to be the coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. So wait a minute. You don't want them to hire somebody that used to play for the team when it comes to being a coach or in the organization, but you're okay and you're willing to co-sign them hiring Tyronn Lue. Is that what you're saying? Because you're kind of contradicting yourself. It doesn't add up, doesn't make sense. And Tyronn Lue used to play for the Los Angeles Lakers. I think a lot of people missed that. Or they didn't miss it. They just wanted to just fly that off, so hoping that someone else forget about that. But that's neither here nor there. So the Los Angeles Lakers, so when you hire two people, Rob Pelinka, Magic Johnson, when you hire two people and they're inexperienced at what you hired them for, you're going to get mixed you're going to get a mixed direction of where to actually go, because actually these two people that you hired are learning as they go when it comes to the job. They're actually learning what to do at your particular job. And Rob That's the reason why they had Rob, because Rob was going to do the stuff Magic did not want to do. Rob was going to try to, since he's a former sports agent, he has connections and ties with other sports agents when it comes to possible when it comes to trading players or trading draft picks. Okay. He also was a former lawyer, so he understands the business aspect of sports. Okay, sports business. Not on the level that he currently resides in, but he does have some experience. With Magic, he he used to be a former player. He has some connections with current players today, and I feel like it's not the younger group like Ben Simmons, but I feel like it's the older group like Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, that class group of people. I feel like he has more of a connection with those players than the current group, because the current group is a younger group. So and then I feel and Magic, also has the charisma. He has the smile. He brightens up the room, and he's a seller. He's the type of person that gets the crowd amped up and rally them up, sort of say. Okay. That's sort of the position he has with the Dodgers. He doesn't have a position with the Dodgers where he can make decisions for the Dodgers on what direction they should take the roster and what pitchers to sign and what players to pick in the draft. No. His role with the Dodgers is you come in when we introduce when we sign free agents, we can always hang our hat on, hey, Magic is in the building as well. Magic is, I'm not saying Magic is the rah-rah guy, but Magic in that particular position, Magic is just one more piece to show off for new signings for players for the Dodgers. But other than that, Magic doesn't run business and operations for the LA Dodgers because he has no experience in it. And the same could be said on the NBA level. Magic does not have experience. He doesn't, as president of basketball operations. Neither does Rob Pelinka. And that is the core and the clutch of this problem with the Los Angeles Lakers. They hired two people that have no experience with president of basketball operations. And then Jeanie gave it to Magic, knowing full well that he did not want to do it on a full-time level. He wanted to be a part-time employer, a president of basketball operations. And if you look at all these other teams, you don't have to look at all of them, but just look at them. Just look at the teams in the NBA playoffs this year. What's the one thing they have in common? They have a GM that that has experience, knows what it takes to build a playoff contending team. The teams that are in the NBA playoffs is not by accident. Okay? It's not by, they played enough weaker competition. It's not by the fact that the East is just weak or the West just isn't the best. There's a reason why these teams are in the playoffs, and they have a strong foundation when it comes to the front office. They have a top-notch office when you talk about personnel. The president of basketball operations is solid there as well. And it's all one direction. It's one person. Okay? It's not a multitude of people. It's one. It's one direction. And that's why a lot of these teams are very successful and they are in the playoffs. It's not by accident. Okay? So, And a lot of these teams did not have LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Carmelo Anthony, okay? They didn't have a superstar, but those teams still advanced to the playoffs. Like the Clippers. Clippers don't have a superstar there, but they was in the playoffs. Portland Trailblazers, they don't have a superstar there, but they were in the playoffs. A lot of people are going to say, well, Damian Lillard, they considered him as a superstar. I don't consider Damian Lillard as a superstar. I consider him as an extraordinary talent. Can really shoot the ball, but he has question marks in other things, and I don't want to go into all details about why. Okay, maybe another time, another day. The Denver Nuggets don't have a superstar. They was in the playoffs. And then when you look at these other teams that have one superstar, I don't believe James Harden is a superstar. I think he's a stud. I think he's a great shooter. Okay, has great touch, a decent court vision, but he's not a superstar. But yet they went to the they was in the playoffs. The 76ers, Joel Embiid, he has the potential to become a superstar. He's closer to being a superstar than anything else they have on their roster. They made it to the playoffs. The Boston Celtics made it to the playoffs with one superstar. Okay, so this thought process of you have to have two superstars to go into the playoffs. Okay, you have to have two. Okay, other than the Golden State Warriors and the Toronto Raptors, I feel like those are the only two teams that have these. The Toronto Raptors have a superstar in Kawhi Leonard, and the Golden State Warriors have multiple superstars. Steph Curry, Kevin Durant. Okay. And they have a lot of great players on their roster. Okay. But other than that, what other teams that were in the playoffs that had two superstars? Not a lot, right? But they made it to the playoffs. Okay. So it's not necessarily the superstars. Is more so with the right person in the front office making the right decisions. Okay? Because everybody can't have a superstar. Everybody can't have two superstars. Okay? So you're going to have to figure out other ways to make your team very successful. All right? So, you got two people, Rob Pelinka, Magic Johnson, that have no previous experience at this position. GM, player, president of basketball operations. Okay? It was doomed to not succeed anyway. Okay? And then you got one person that doesn't want to do it on a full-time basis. They want to just only do it part-time, basically be the guy that goes into the living room to the superstars to try to recruit them to the Lakers. And I felt like Magic was hanging his hat too much on, well, I got LeBron here. When technically, when you really think about it, LeBron had aspirations to come here. Okay? If I had to put a percentage on LeBron really coming to the Lakers because of Magic Johnson, I'll say about 10, 15%. I think if LeBron always orchestrate his future, he's always 3 steps ahead. He was always going to make this decision, even if Magic didn't show up. I think it would have been a lower percentage if he didn't show up, but he definitely was going to come to Los Angeles, and he wanted to go to a team that has name recognition. Okay. People will say, well, what about the Clippers? The Clippers just do not have that brand, that name recognition. Okay. And to be honest with you, they would have been the third team. They would have been the third team on his list of possibility where he would have went to last off season. So I felt like Magic wanted to only be president of basketball operation only in free agency when they pick up superstar talent or players. Okay, and that was it. He didn't want to do the other stuff. Okay, because the other stuff requires him to be in the office more. Okay, and that's where the problems became started to occur, because then he wanted to pretty much start making coaching. I mean, well, let's travel a little bit before that. Then he wanted to make decisions such as players to draft. I mean, well, to not draft, but to trade. I would give him this much credit, but I'm not going to give him a lot of credit. Okay, he got rid of a lot of contracts. Okay, to free up a lot of money. But to be honest with you guys, the Knicks been doing it for years. Okay, so it's not like a big. It's not. To me, it's not a big deal to release to free up enough money so you can have 2 max slots. Okay. I felt like he pulled the trigger way too fast on D'Angelo Russell, and he wanted Alonzo Ball, which in his, I believe Alonzo will be in his second year, third year. He still has not proven that he can stay. He can play all 82 games. He has a huge injury problem, but other than that, he's a pass first, shoot second type of player, which I feel like that's a good commodity as a point guard. But at the end of the day, you draft Alonzo Ball, and then the next season after that, you sign LeBron James, and LeBron James consider himself in that type of mode, and he does it at a better and a faster pace than Alonzo Ball. So technically, you got 2 players that do pretty much the same thing. Okay, 2 players that's going to need the ball in order for them to showcase their talent. Okay, and you have both of these players on playing at the same time. That defeats the purpose. Okay, so there was a lot of things Magic have done for this team that just did not pan out. The Anthony Davis, I feel like, even though I don't feel like that's Magic responsibility. I mean, Magic, reason why that trade did not pass or fell through. I don't think it's Magic Johnson's 100%, but I do think Magic has something to do with them not landing Anthony Davis quick enough. Okay, he plays in the blame pie. He gets a slice. So does Jeanie Buss and the Lakers organization. Okay, but that could be leading up to they have too many chefs in the kitchen. But once again, like I said earlier, Magic was a chef in that kitchen as well. Okay, so just because you say it, that doesn't mean that we wiped the slate clean with you. Okay, you was part of the problem. Okay, so, and then I also felt like the tampering that really hurt the team when Magic would talk to other players, talk to them, and he would talk to them at a level where he would say, well, I'm just talking to them, because I'm a former player, they're players, and we're having conversations like that, blah, 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 blah. Jerry West was a former player. He doesn't get in trouble. He doesn't be tampering with other players. So Phil Jackson was a former player. He never had tampering charges, even though he wasn't very good at the office portion, player of basketball operations, which Magic Johnson was. Magic Johnson. Michael Jordan was a great player. You don't never hear him in these tampering type of conspiracies or tampering talk. Okay, so I felt like Magic has done a lot of things to, uh, you know, as far as not, as far as the Lakers pointing the Lakers in the right direction. Magic has more is responsible for why the Lakers are not pointing in the right direction. Same as Jeanie, Rob Pelinka, and now when you add Kurt Rambis, his wife, and others, they're not pointing the Lakers in the right direction. And it looks kind of spooky over there. Okay, so Magic left because he said that, quote, he wanted to fire Luke Walton. And to be technically honest, in basketball circles, Luke was going to get fired anyway. So for all those out there that says, well, he left because Luke Walton, they wanted to hold on to Luke Walton, that wasn't true. He really not only wanted to let go of Luke Walton, which when you look at the Lakers organization and Jeanie Buss, but Jeanie Buss also, I want to say this, Jeanie Buss kind of was trying to fight for Luke Walton in some way, but it was a fight that she was not going to be victorious in, because if you look at Luke Walton's track record as a coach for the Los Angeles Lakers, not too good. Okay, and to make matters worse, I didn't think LeBron wanted to play alongside Luke Walton. Okay, so when you got all of those angles pointing, eventually she would have to let go of the fact of trying to keep Luke Walton. All right, but other than that, nobody else was co-signing to Luke Walton. I think Magic was still, if it was only about Luke Walton, Magic would still be there. Okay, because Luke Walton was gone anyway. All right, I think it was more so to the fact that he wanted to fire Rob Pelinka. Okay, he wanted to let go of Rob Pelinka because and it wasn't on a basketball decision, it was a personal decision, because he had a vendetta against Rob Pelinka. Rob Pelinka, in his interpretation, was backstabbing him, talking behind his back. And the comments he was making was, where's Magic? Have anyone seen Magic? Magic is not in the office like the rest of us. He's not working hard like the rest of us. Which, technically, Magic, you co-signed to that, saying that you pretty much was in agreement with Rob Pelinka. You said that, look, I just want to do it part-time. I just wanted to be Magic. I wanted to, go on vacation. So I don't have, and I have other businesses as well to micromanage. So I just don't want to spend all of my time in the Los Angeles Lakers organization. But that's what president of basketball operations is, Magic, and you knew that. And like I said earlier in this live stream, a lot of people were taking advantage of Jeanie Buss because she's learning as she's going on with it, the processes of being an owner. She doesn't have a lot of experience on what's culture and what's not. And if you want to be president of basketball operations, it's not a part-time job. It's not a job where you'll do it when you want to do it. It's a full-time job that's going to keep you attending a lot of graduations, a lot of birthdays, a lot of holidays. As Danny Ainge, how his life, as president of basketball operations, not that glorious. It's not a glorious type of job. It's not a famous type of job. You're going to be stuck in a lot of gymnasiums, looking at scouting talent. You're going to be stuck in the office trying to broker and negotiate deals to make your team better. Okay? So, Magic, and Magic knew what it took to be president of basketball operating. That's why he did this ridiculous ultimatum. Yeah, I'll do it, Jeanie, but I only want to do it on my terms. But being president of basketball operations is you're doing it not for your terms. You're doing what's best, the best interest for the team. Okay? And like I said earlier, Magic did some good things. He, if you want to hang his hat on LeBron James, even though LeBron James already had a foot and a knee in the door of becoming the Lakers, but if he wants to hang his hat on that, fine, give him that. Okay, he also got rid of a lot of those big time contracts with the Los Angeles Lakers to free up enough cap space for 2 max slots. But to be honest with you, the Knicks been doing this for years. Several teams have been doing this for years. So, it wasn't something that was, to me, if you want to hang his hat on that, that's fine. But in today's NBA, it's pretty easy to do. Okay. And if he wants to hang his hat on, he has connections with a lot of players in the NBA. Fine, that that's good as well. If he feels like Alonzo Ball, he wanted Alonzo Ball, and if he feels like Alonzo Ball was, he can hang his hat on, hey, I drafted Alonzo Ball, even though there was players before Alonzo Ball that was a lot better, and they got picked on other teams, and they reaping the rewards of drafting that player, and they're going into the playoffs. Meanwhile, you pick Alonzo Ball, and you got the same record last year as this year, and you had LeBron James. So, and another year of Alonzo Ball, and you still had the same record. But if he wants to hang his hat on that, fine. Okay? But other than that, there's really nothing else Magic has done for the Lakers organization in a positive way. Okay? He never orchestrated getting Anthony Davis, which I feel like that was pretty much the end of Magic Johnson, when he couldn't get that trade accomplished, when he was trying to hold on to a lot of the young core. And now, and to me, I felt like if you really wanted Anthony Davis, you would have to make an offer that they could not refuse, that they could not go to the press world, and the press go, look, they gave you everything for Anthony Davis, and y'all still didn't give him up, even though you know that he's leaving anyway, even though they had another year to ponder over it. But when your first offer is, Lance Stevenson, a stick of gum, 2 buttermilk biscuits, a bus pass, Michael Beasley, we'll give you one of our core youth. But, and when you're throwing out, when your first offer should be your best offer. Okay? And when your first offer is terrible, okay, and then when you give them the second offer and it wasn't even better than your first offer, you can't go to the press crying, talking about, well, they didn't want to do business with us. I think if you gave them an offer that they couldn't refuse, they would had to take that offer, even though they didn't like how you did business with them. Basically, Anthony Davis is managed by Clutch Sports. Clutch Sports is owned, even though people are going to say it's not owned, but it's owned by LeBron James, LBJ, and LeBron James is in Miami, Los Angeles. Okay, and LeBron James didn't make no secrets about wanting to play, had a desire to play with Anthony Davis. Not to mention the fact Magic even talked about it. Okay. So they're talking about Anthony Davis is already there. They're talking about, oh, when he gets there, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, And, the Pelicans had an axe to grind with the Los Angeles Lakers. So the Los Angeles Lakers' first pitch should have been their best one. And now that you had your opportunity, you had your window, that window's passed. The ping pong, now the draft, we all know who's going to be picking. And the Knicks have the number 3 pick, and you have the number 4 pick. There's only 3 players in this draft class that's worth, putting a pick on that can probably be a difference maker down the road. I think R.J. Barrett and Zion Williams. If you can pair those two up, that can be your tandem for the next 10 to 15 years. And the Knicks have the opportunity to give the Pelicans the number 3 pick. Okay? And the New Orleans Pelicans have the possibility to not only sign Zion, okay, but to get R.J. Barrett. The Lakers have the 4th pick, and they're talking about some Vanderbilt guard. Okay? So you got R.J. Barrett for your 3rd. Okay, you got Zion for 1. I forgot the second best player. Sorry about that. But he's more of a position. It's more to do with his position, not so his talent. So to me, it's Zion Williams, R.J. Barrett, okay? And then there's a huge drop. So the Knicks have the 3 pick. They can draft R.J. Barrett, do a trade to New Orleans, send R.J. Barrett, or just send the pick itself to New Orleans, and in return they get Anthony Davis. And then or they can wait and do a trade package with the Lakers and get the Vanderbilt guard. Okay, so when you had your window of opportunity, Lakers organization, including Magic Johnson, you didn't capitalize on it. Okay, you sort of let this pass, saying, "Well, we'll get them in the summer." When you have other people that can bid and give New Orleans better opportunities, better picks, such as the Celtics. Even though I feel like the Celtics, they don't have no top 3 pick in this upcoming draft, but they have a multitude of players at their disposal that they can give to the Pelicans. And to me, I feel like they're better pieces than what the Lakers are going to give them. So I know a lot of people want to say that, oh, well, Magic Johnson been blackballed, he was backstabbed, and all this, when this could clearly been resolved if Magic actually came to the office. He had issues. Well, go to the office, knock on Rob Pelinka's door, and say, hey, I heard you said this, I heard you say that. What's going on? I have friends that are agents. They tell me not to trust you. What's going on? And it could have ended either one or 2 ways. You get an understanding from him, hearing his side of the story. And if he didn't say that stuff, then, life goes on. You might look at him side-eye, but life goes on. You look at him side-eye because of his experience as a sports agent. But see, you already knew that, right? When he got the job, you knew that when he got the job. You pretty much agreed to that on the First Take interview. Well, people were telling me, and I know about his past. Okay, but you knew that. Okay, so that shouldn't be the reason why you left. okay? Because of his past as a sports agent, because you already knew that, okay? Or it could have ended as he goes to Jeanie and say, hey, look, Rob is saying this about me, saying that about me, and I went to his office, I talked to him, I get a sense that he did say that, even though I feel like he's lying to me. So look here, it's either Rob or me. I mean, who are you going to, I can't work in an environment with Rob Pelinka. It's either Rob or me, okay? And I guarantee you, even Jeanie Buss, and like I said earlier, Jeanie Buss is on the job. She's doing on the job training when it comes to an owner. She's learning as she's going. Okay. But in that situation, Jeanie would, would chose Magic because of their time together, their relationship together. She really doesn't know Rob Pelinka that much, even though Rob Pelinka is, like on the Kobe Bryant angle. But when you make an ultimatum like that, I feel like she would have logically took Magic's side, just told, hey, Kobe, your boy Rob and Magic, they just not mixing together like oil and water, okay? And Rob Pelinka really hasn't done anything where you can say, well, we have to keep him because he's doing X, Y, and Z. Okay. And two, you hire two people that have no experience on the position that you hired them for. So as far as it, like I said, it would have handled a different way. But the reason why Magic chose the way he chose was pretty much quitting on the team before the season even ended was Magic saw the tea leaves, and he knows that if he would have stayed and they didn't get the big name fish like a Kevin Durant, or maybe if you want to throw Kyrie Irving in that perspective, fine, Kawhi Leonard. I feel like if they didn't get two of those guys, or even Anthony Davis, if they couldn't get Anthony Davis, then this would have been a failure. This pretty much would have been a failure. Magic saw the tea leaves, and he understood that this summer is not going to be this summer is not going to be a great summer for the Los. When you talk about the big fish, the big name, adding another max player to play alongside LeBron James, because Kevin Durant has already said no to this. Kawhi Leonard, is pretty much choosing the Clippers over the Lakers because he doesn't want to play alongside LeBron James because he's an aging talent. So Magic saw those big names, they're not coming anyway. It's not a lot you can do with this roster unless you want to overpay for Jimmy Butler, you overpay for DeMarcus Russell, you overpay for JJ Redick. You overpay for him. The pick that you're going to get, the number 4 pick, he can be a role player, but nothing significant beyond that for now. So, and Kyrie Irving pretty much said, look, I'm not going to the Los Angeles Lakers, okay? And I feel like Kyrie Irving is going to the Knicks if the Knicks can get Anthony Davis. If the Knicks get Anthony Davis, now the other opportunity of going back to New Orleans and giving them whatever they have to get AD, that deal is over with, okay? Because now I feel like the Anthony being traded, he's going to be traded before the draft, or they're gonna work a deal where they trade Anthony Davis for the number 3 pick of this year's draft. And if the Knicks get Anthony Davis, then it's a wrap. Kyrie's definitely going to New York, and Kevin Durant will possibly go to New York. If he doesn't go to New York, he'll probably stay with the Golden State Warriors. But either way, that's already 3 names is 3 names that are pretty much already out of the free agency. Okay, so those are 3 names the Lakers are not going to get, and Magic knew that. So now you have to do a Hail Mary on Kawhi Leonard, convince him. But Kawhi is not going there for LeBron. So somebody's going to have to convince Kawhi. And I feel like this is where Rob Pelinka, his experience as a sports agent, pays a lot of great benefits for the Lakers. If he has, he could probably talk to Kawhi's agent or to his family and convince them why he should pair up with LeBron James. And I feel like that's where Rob Pelinka strives in those moments. Where if Magic goes into Kawhi's living room, he's going to come from the perspective as a former player. But Kawhi can always put doubt in that, saying, well, that probably worked in the 70s, in the 80s, and in the 90s. I just don't see how that worked for today's NBA. Where Rob can look at it as, and also Magic can look at the opportunities business-wise outside of basketball for Kawhi. Okay? So those are 2 things that he could, demonstrate to Kawhi. If he was in Kawhi Leonard's living room, convincing Kawhi, convincing his family. But I feel like Rob, as a sports agent, can not only show him why signing with the Lakers is a better basketball decision, is not only a better basketball decision for Kawhi Leonard, but also his connections with Kobe Bryant. I feel like Kawhi Leonard really likes Kobe Bryant more and consider him, his child, consider him like a childhood hero over LeBron James. So you got that angle going. You got Rob Pelinka, the sports agent angle going. I don't think, as far as business opportunities outside of basketball, I don't see how Rob Pelinka can demonstrate or give a package to Kawhi. I don't see how that's beneficial. But I feel like if they put Rob Pelinka in the room, they'll probably get, convince Kawhi into coming to the Lakers. Because when Magic was running the ship, Kawhi already said he wasn't going to be a Laker. So Magic sees the tea leaves. They're not going to get those big name guys. They're not. So now you have to come out with your plan B. And your plan B is, well, let's just put pieces around LeBron James. And I feel like that's the way they're going to pretty much go. They're going to put pieces around LeBron James where LeBron James will thrive in. And they're going to put a lot of shooters around him. They may have to spend a lot of money for J.J. Redick. They may have to overpay for J.J. Redick. They may have to, and I don't know if he's a free agent, but Seth Curry, if he's a free agent, they may have to overpay for him. He's a good shooter. He's not as good as his brother, but he's still a good shooter. And that's what you're going to need for the Los Angeles Lakers to be very successful next year. The the players that Magic put around LeBron James, they were not consistent shooters. Okay, Lance Stevenson is not a consistent shooter. Rondo is not a consistent shooter. Beasley is not a consistent shooter. LaVale McGee is not a consistent shooter. But what's the one thing that they all have in common? The one flaw that they all have in common? They're not good shooters. So that's pretty much what's going on. I don't see I don't see them landing another big time player, but I do see them making the team a lot better. They're out on the Anthony trade, the Anthony Davis trade, unless the offense can orchestrate something to land the services of Anthony Davis. I do not see that happening. Okay. Klay Thompson is not going to the Los Angeles Lakers. Not when he knows that they're going to get a chip here and possibly another championship next year. Okay, even with or without Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is not going to the Los Angeles Lakers. Kevin Durant has two. He can either stay with the Golden State Warriors, or he can go to the East, join up with Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis, and make the New York Knicks very successful again. Even with those three players, I still think that's still not enough. Okay, they're gonna have to add some more pieces, not big name pieces, but pieces that fit their style. Okay, so I don't see none of them. The free agents are going to the Los Angeles Lakers. What the Los Angeles Lakers are going to ultimately do is, if they're going to go for another big time star, they're going to have to go to the second tier, like a Jimmy Butler. They're going to have to overpay for JJ Redick. I don't know why I want to say JJ Burrell. JJ Redick, they're going to have to overpay for him. They're going to, if Seth Curry is a free agent, they're going to have to get shooters, pay them a little bit more to come to the Los Angeles Lakers. And they're going to have to give up on that core because you can only put 12 people on a roster. Okay. So I know Rondo won't be there. Lance Stevenson definitely not going to be there. LaVale McGee is not going to be there. I feel like if they're going to spend if they got max dollars and they have to spend it, they rather overspend it on JJ Redick. No, hold up. Jimmy Butler, Boogie Cousins. No, JJ Redick, Jimmy Butler, or Boogie Cousins. Okay, and they're probably spending their max dollars on that. Okay, but in all honesty, they're going to put shooters around LeBron James, and they're going to have to probably give up on their core, which means that's why you hear rumors and reports out there that possibly that they're going to get rid of Alonzo Ball. He's probably going to go to the Phoenix. I heard the Phoenix reports earlier, about a couple of months ago. Now you're hearing reports that it's a possibility of him going to the Chicago Bulls. Makes perfect sense. He's a pass first, score second type of player. His talent will fit decent with the pieces that they have with the Chicago Bulls. I still don't think that's enough for the Chicago Bulls to dominate the East, but maybe it's enough if he stays healthy for them to go into the playoffs. Plus, I feel like you have to pretty much trade Alonzo Ball because you got LeBron James. And LeBron James needs shooters around him. If they could, they could keep Kuzma. But if they had to choose between Kuzma and Brandon Ingram is probably going to go. Even though Brandon Ingram has improved with the Lakers. I feel like they should keep Brandon Ingram and let go of Kuzma. But since Kuzma's the shooter, and you got to have shooters around LeBron James, they're probably going to. If you have to pick between those two, they're going to keep Kuzma over Ingram. But that's pretty much it. Damn, this thing went up. This thing went up mad long. That's pretty much it. I mean, Magic, when you watch the interview, he explained a lot of stuff. But at the end of the day, it was Magic more so than it was Magic contribute to a lot of their woes and a lot of their problems. And when you got an owner like Jeanie Buss, who's learning on the job, and her first move was to put Magic and Rob Pelinka pretty much running the Lakers organization, this is pretty much what you get. You get this type of result, okay? Because now you got Jeanie Buss learning on the job as she goes along. And now you got Rob Pelinka and Magic Johnson doing the same thing. And on top of that, Magic only wants to do it part-time. So, and as far as Rob Pelinka goes, he probably did say all that stuff in the office. You know? Put yourself in his shoes. You're in the office day and night and day, trying to make this team better. Meanwhile, you got somebody who's supposed to be your partner only coming in when they want to come in. And, you know, they don't mind doing the glamorous part, if you want to call it glamorous, which is trying to recruit another big name talent or recruit big name stars. And then they're 88 out the gate. Meanwhile, you got to go, you got to stay in the office. You got to go to these gymnasiums looking at different types of talent. You got to try to piece different types of talent together around what you already have. And you're trying to broker deals to make your team better. But it's hard to do that when your partner is also doing it. And since sometimes y'all clashing different perspectives. You know, you're probably wanting to go one way and he's probably going another way, but y'all really don't have enough chemistry with each other. You don't know what the direction he wants to go, and he doesn't know what direction you're going because he's never there. And I can understand only on this standpoint the frustration angle with Rob Pelinka, because that could be a very tedious, kind of complex frustration type of situation. You know, you're trying to better the team. You have a partner that's also trying to better the team, but your partner is never there where y'all can bounce ideas and figure out which way is up or which way we're going. Okay? And he probably said all that stuff, but I don't consider it being backstabbing. I'm more considerate of, if you're going to say that, you can at least say it in the person's face. But it's hard to say it in somebody's face when they're not there. But I can understand his frustration. We all been through that. You know, people that sits up here and say, you know, they don't think it's fair. Magic got a raw deal. You should be talking behind people's backs and all this stuff. You know, those are the same type of individuals that when the same thing occurs with them, they would do the same thing what Rob Pelinka do. You know, he probably was speaking, you know, normally when people are frustrated, and I worked with a lot of people like this, they say out loud what they're frustrated about. They're not saying it at you that they're frustrated at you, or saying it at this individual because they're frustrated at that individual. They say it out loud why they're stressed out, why they're frustrated. Okay? And I think that was a situation with Rob where he just sort of said it out loud, and people put two and two together saying, oh, he's mad at Magic Johnson because he's never here. But Magic, if you had issues with Rob, I think that was a situation where if you hear, particularly what he said, she said, if you hear somebody talking bad about you, don't you at least want to go to the source instead of just, reacting to what someone heard someone else said about so-and-so saying something about you? Wouldn't you, and it's not being, I hate when people say you're not man enough to do this, you're not man enough to do that. This is a situation where, look, if it's not being a man, it just just being human. Don't you want to go to the source that's talking bad about you and hear it from the horse's mouth, so to say? They they come up to you walk up and say, hey, I heard that you said X, Y, and Z about me. What's going on? And if that individual have issues with you, they say, yeah, I tell you exactly what's going on. You're doing this, blah blah this, blah blah that, and everything don't have to be a fist fight. But I feel like everything has to be, in retrospect, a conversation, and we both don't have to agree for the conclusion. We can simply agree to disagree. But if you got issues with somebody and you go to that person, you verbalize their issues, and they verbalize their issues with you, and then y'all come to a conclusion or how to resolve it, you can win. I mean, you can become a lot more successful that way than, oh, okay, I heard Susie told me that Steve said this, okay, and I believe Susie, so you know what, I'm just gonna quit, or I don't want to talk to them, or see, I feel like when you break off communication with the person that has issues with you, you're never going to advance past those issues. Those issues are going to always still be there until you either quit or they quit, okay? And then the issue just moves with them. The issue is not with you no more. That person no longer works there no more. So now that issue goes to them. And I feel like that's what's going on with the Rob Pelinka Magic Johnson thing. Instead of, and another thing I really hate, and it really, and normally this happens in the entertainment world or the music world. Now it done filtered over into the sports world, where now people don't even talk to one another. Now they don't say nothing. They wait until they get this big time press conference, or go on national television, or go on syndicated radio, or go on a podcast, and they pretty much blur out their issues with that person when they had every opportunity. If you had issues with a particular person, you had every opportunity to handle it face to face. But instead, you leave, you quit, you leave, you wait a couple of weeks, maybe a month, and now you want to grandstand it, sort of say, and let the people judge who's right and who's wrong. When it could have been easily solved if you really, and Rob and Magic, okay, look here. Magic talks two-faced a lot. Magic talk about how he loves the Lakers, how he loves the Buss family, how Jeanie Buss is like a sister to to him. They family, right? That's what basically you're describing. Okay? You're family to them. But at the same time, you pretty much destroy any type of success for them this off season. And like I said earlier in this live stream, even when Magic Johnson was president of basketball operations, they didn't have a very as far as the future when it comes to the summer. I mean, well, the free agents of this year, this summer, even with Magic Johnson, they wasn't going to land none of those big fish, none of those big three with Magic Johnson. Okay? So they better have a plan B going. All right? And I think that's what they were coming to the conclusion of. We're going to have a plan B. All right? With Magic Johnson. Now, when Magic Johnson goes on First Take and talks about, and basically he's pretty much confirming what we all knew, okay? Now potential players, they're probably not going to join the Lakers because they're going like, wait a minute, you know, Magic is beefing with the organization beefing with Magic. You know, I already knew Jeanie was on the job training as an owner. I already knew Rob Pelinka was on the job training, running the Lakers organization. I already knew Magic was on the job training, running the Los Angeles Lakers. I already knew that they had too many chefs in the kitchen, okay? But now somebody in that same kitchen is leaving the kitchen and now trying to, you know, burn it down, sort of say. So now the second tier of players, they're going to be scratching their heads. And the only way they're going to go to the Los Angeles Lakers, if what? Yeah, you have to overpay for them. You have to overpay for their services. So this notion, I mean, what Magic did Monday was not only he destroyed what little credibility the Los Angeles Lakers had as far as having a decent, successful free agent summer. And like I said earlier, even if Magic was there, the best that they could have gotten was a decent off-season summer. Okay? Now that's shredded up. And now Magic, and in some perspectives, and if you listen to a lot of people, a lot of these talking heads, they're saying, well, Adrian Woj, I'm not going to say his whole name, man. Woj, he even said Magic even tarnished his reputation. If Magic wants to get back into basketball, be president of basketball operations, which I feel like Magic has already came to the conclusion, the end of the road, sort of say, like, this is not for me, you know, because I can't be Magic. I can't travel. I can't, you know, have fun. Okay, this job is not a fun job. Who said that president of basketball operations was fun anyway? Okay, ask yourself that, Magic. Well, not only are you tarnishing their image, you're tarnishing your own image. You're talking about, well, I still want to help them some kind of way of getting some talent. Okay, but you know, these players are a lot, you know, these players are smart, you know. They got social media, you know, followers and things of that nature. They read the same articles you read. And they know who to go to get the correct source and to get the correct 411. Okay? So, you not only are you tarnishing their career, you're tarnishing their image. You're tarnishing your own image at the same time. I mean, you was hell bent on, and he came off looking like, you know, like a schoolgirl who got her crush broken. That's pretty much what Magic Johnson turned into. Now, Stephen A. Smith is friends with Magic Johnson. He's not going to go real in on Magic, but I felt like he should have went all in on Magic. Because he's trying to, you know, keep the relationship, you know, the relationship line steady between him and Magic, so he can continue to have Magic come to their show. Plus, ESPN is in a ratings war with First Take's in a rating war with Undisputed, and all this week, even on Fox, they had to say ESPN First Take. So they sort of, when you're talking about ratings, they probably are benefiting from these ratings. So, and Magic Johnson's smart, okay? He's got connections with Stephen A. at First Take, as well as connections with Skip Bayless. There's a reason why he chose First Take, because he knew Stephen A. Smith was not going to give him any hardball questions, but Skip will. Skip will definitely will. And I'm not a huge Skip Bayless fan. Don't get me wrong. But the one thing I have to give one up between Skip and Stephen A. Smith, Skip don't care about relationships, okay? He wants the hot names, the big names to come to his show, but Skip is not in this to, have somebody in his phone that he can call and text, or to say, hey, I'm friends with so-and-so. I'm friends with that person. I'm friends with this person. Stephen A is more of that, okay? So that's pretty much it. Really nothing else to say. As far as the future goes, I feel like the Lakers can still salvage something, for this upcoming free agency. I don't think they're going to land any of those big names. But out of those three big names, there's a possibility that Kawhi could go to the Los Angeles Lakers. Yeah, and if that's in the cards, that has more to do with the Kobe Bryant connection more so than Jeanie Buss or Magic Johnson, or LeBron James, because when you talk about these three players, when you talk about these three entities, they tried to talk to Kawhi, and Kawhi didn't want to go over there. Okay, I feel like if you have to put a percentage on it, I think the Kobe Bryant connection will have a bigger influence than what a lot of people may or may not say or do or tell. Excuse me. I feel like I discredit LeBron, but I feel like LeBron will have some influence in that as well, because I feel like LeBron could convince, out of all those players, I think he can convince Leonard the most, because he can pretty much say, hey, look here, man, with you and me, we're a good pair here, and my style fits your style. I'm not going to hog up all the shots, and I feel like that's a better tandem than them trying to pair him up with Anthony Davis. If they somehow, some way get Anthony Davis, I don't see them getting Anthony Davis. But if they get Anthony Davis, that's not going to be enough. I feel like LeBron and Kawhi, and if they can keep the rest of some of that young core, definitely they're going to have to trade Alonzo Ball, okay? And if they can trade Alonzo Ball for like a couple of shooters, I think that's going to be a good team. I think that team can beat the Utah Jazz, can beat the Portland Trail Blazers, can be in contention with the Rockets, okay? Because the Rockets, unless they add more pieces, which I don't see how they can add more pieces because they're in salary cap hell, okay? And Chris Paul is only getting older. I feel like they can extend the series with the Rockets. But if let's just say the Golden State Warriors lose Kevin Durant, and now you still got your core, I think that's where they're going to run into problems with. They're really going to, and depending on their roster, they're either going to run into some problems, or that's going to be a long series. Okay, But the Lakers could easily turn this around by just if they can get Kawhi, which I don't see how they can get Kawhi, but if they do get Kawhi, I'm giving you guys the reasonings behind they getting Kawhi. Has little to do with, and I feel like if Jeanie was seasonal enough, she should you know, as far as her and Magic, I feel like, you know, I'm not saying indefinitely, but they should try to, try not, to incorporate them with Magic. You know, celebrate Magic as a player, celebrate Magic as when you talk about contributing to the Los Angeles Lakers dynasty and things of that nature. But as far as putting him, making him, listening to his input, but not go beyond that. I feel like they should move away from Magic, just temporarily until at least to the end of this summer, till they see what they have. Okay. Well, that's all I got for today. Guys, tell me what you think. Rate, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell at the bottom so you'll know when my next video or live stream goes down.